What is happening, so fam? It is Tarot Tuesday, so this is going to be the shorter version of Tarot Tuesday. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, click that little notification button so you can go ahead and stay tuned all up into this. Okay, I did some rape this morning, divine union, bringing in our divine masculine and feminine together so we can have some really good vibes going on. Okay, and then I have like this bowl of pink Himalayan sea salt with kosher salt and a bunch of different kinds of stones in there that I also put in there. That is a Ayurvedic fire template here that we're going to be using for this as well. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to light this first, because when we're doing some sort of tarot, like some really cool tarot, we want to go ahead and at least set the vibe. I like setting the vibe to be this good fire energy. It allows me to like really channel what I want to channel. It takes a little second. Pick one of these two decks right now. I want you to pick one. And depending on which one you pick is the kind of energies that you're going to be affected with most recently. All right, so now we have the incense burning. Did you pick whichever deck you wanted? I apologize that this is my messy table. It's got burn marks and stuff in it. But my other table is really packed right now with a bunch of different tarots. So I have to use this one for today. So we're going to use this one right here. If you pick this deck, this is the action energy that you need to be using at this current moment, okay? So we're going to slide this one over and we're going to use this space to read. So what action energy should you be taking at this moment, okay? If you're looking for one-on-one coaching, go ahead and check the link in my description below. Set up a free clarity call with me or one of my coaches, and we'll see what your life path is and how we can get you to the ultimate goal of your reality, all right? So what does the Yang Cloud deck have to say to you? Number one, this one right here, okay? This is all about dark energy. This is all about like you're going through a transformational phase in your own subconscious. The dark card also tells us that it's a time for rest. We need to find a way to allow ourselves to take a breather. Being this is the first card that kind of just fell out before I even was able to shuffle the deck. You know, this is the most important thing that's happening, because as you rest, you will find purity with the snow. So right now, what you need to be doing is taking rest, not only in the sense of like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to take a break from doing certain things. It's more so taking a break from old habits that don't serve you anymore, okay? So I actually, like, the last couple of weeks I've been really focusing on like, okay, let me get into like this really good routine. Let me stop smoking weed for certain kinds of days. And, like, you know, let me change who I am and put certain things to rest so that my life becomes easier. Okay. A lot of times we do self-sabotaging habits and beliefs that don't let us reach our ultimate potential. So this is one of the things that they're really telling you right now. Analyze your life and purify your life. Okay. Bring purification into the things that no longer serve you. And as you're putting these things to rest, have honor. A lot of times we want to break an addiction or something, and we're like, oh, that addiction is so evil. Like, I want to just like, like screw this addiction, right? But then that kind of like reinforces the negative energy that allowed us to have an addiction in the first place. So this right here is telling you to honor your addictions or whatever else that you're leaving behind that are self-sabotaging you, and find a new level of purity, because it's time to move on. As the year 2020 is starting to wrap up, this is going to be a massive energy to really see whether or not you want what you want. You're being pushed to the test right now. You might be feeling like things are getting a little bit easier, but at the same time, things are getting a little bit harder. You might be feeling like you're falling behind in certain aspects. This is really important for you right now to understand that this is not the time to go in a relaxing state where you let everything else fall to the wayside. This is a moment where you relax things that don't serve you anymore so you can purify your life and therefore make a movement into your future that is filled with purification itself. Especially when we take this moment right here to put these things to rest that no longer serve us, we need to ask ourselves authentically, why is it that this thing doesn't serve you anymore? This can be a lot of times this is like energy that you're holding yourself back on. Like one great example, I've had several friends of mine that have been interested in someone romantically, and that's been kind of like holding them back to some degree. So one of the things that's been coming up for them is like putting that to rest. Like, why are you so hung up on this relationship? You need to put that on down to rest. You need to find out why you're actually hung up on this situation. Maybe because you're codependent, maybe because you're lonely, maybe because you're fantasyful, and put that to rest, okay? Similarly, this doesn't have to be like a love relationship type situation. This can be like, why is it that you've been procrastinating for such a long time? Why are you actually procrastinating? A lot of times we procrastinate because we don't want to feel a certain kind of emotion that makes us, the stress, the anxiety, the time crunch. Is that what I'm running away for? And let's put that to rest, because obviously no one's going to get my own um, goals accomplished for me, okay? Then we have the sand card. The sand card tells us that this does have something to do that's rooted in love to some degree. Rather, especially if you're one of those people that are dealing with like the love interest relationship thing, the person that you're thinking about does have that love energy for you, but they are also not in a place where they can even fulfill that for you. So that's why you need to purify this. If you're not in a love relationship situation with someone, then this sand card is telling you love yourself. The only way you're going to purify yourself is through loving yourself. A lot of times we do things and we're like, oh, I'm comfortable doing this one thing and I've been doing this for a while, but we don't actually sit down and kind of like contemplate, wow, like, is this me authentically saying that I love myself, right? And if I do love myself, is that bringing me purification, right? Is that allowing me to make moves, right? If not, I got to put that to rest, all right? So finally, the dash. I knew the dash was going to come out here. The dash and the move tend to come out very often with each other. Basically saying like it's time. Like this is basically telling you like there's no waiting anymore. Like if you're still waiting for something to come out of the blue to make you feel real comfortable, to make you feel like everything's in alignment in your own life, you are going to sign up for like a major disappointment. The end of this year is for you to hustle. Do you want that new career change? Do you want that new lover? Do you want to feel more empowered? Do you want more money? Do you want to start living the life of your dreams? Whatever it is that you're going for, because everyone's going for something different, right? Because we're all creators of our own personal universes. But this is the main message for everyone who picked this deck right here. This is all about action, right? The dash, you got to dash over your obstacles. You got to move past whatever's holding you back. This is about action. We have to take action. If you do not take action, you're going to find yourself in 2021 really regretting and looking at 2020 like, damn, I should have done something to better amplify my reality and my perceptions overall, okay? Super important that you'll understand this. Now let's look at them in terms of rows, okay? You need to ask yourself something authentically that's truthful about whether or not a love situation or you loving yourself is authentically happening. And if it's not, you need to do something to break that. You need to jump over that barrier, dash beyond that barrier, okay? You need to put those things to rest so you can purify yourself so you can make the ultimate moves that you can be making, okay? So they're both saying the same thing on two different levels here, and they're telling you it's all focused around asking yourself really, really valuable questions on whether or not you are introducing the most amount of love into your reality that is going to let you get to the next level. Now, on the seventh card, again, we see the glow card. The sweet card. And the sweet card has to do with, again, love. Love, okay? Making movements, okay? So this is really interesting how they're being really, really clear on what is most important at this current moment, okay? We're trying to bring in a high reality for ourselves, no matter what it is that you're trying to create in your reality. The only way you're going to bring that is if you focus on love. And a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, we gotta give love to like our neighbors and stuff like that. That's one way of doing it. But the most important way to give love or to experience love in general is to ask yourself, where do you already have love in your life and how can you amplify this? On my TikTok, Antojai Quantum Reiki, I did a live yesterday where I was talking about that. Like, a lot of times we want to build upon our manifestations and we think that every manifestation we build has to start from scratch, right? But that's not true. If you want to build a more happy life, where do you already have happiness in your life? Like, do you have happiness when you go to work? Do you have happiness when you're playing with your dogs? If you already have happiness, just add on to that and expand the happiness that you already have. Same thing with wealth, same thing with love. One of the things that I really do when I'm trying to show myself how abundant I am is looking at how many tarot cards I have, how many tarot decks I have. People have bought me tarot decks, like fans and, family members, and just like all these tarots have come to me where I never thought I would have more than just one tarot deck. I was really staunch on having just one tarot deck my entire life. And then all these other ones started showing up. So when I'm trying to build abundance, I look at that first. And I'm like, wow, look at all these tarot. Like, I never would have had these tarot if it wasn't for the kindness of my community. I'm so abundant. So how do I keep building upon that? I don't have to start from square zero saying that I don't have abundance, but more so saying I am abundant. How do I add more to this? How do I expand that vibration? That's really important for us to understand. The subconscious energy here at the very bottom of the deck, which is really important, and a lot of people don't tend to read this type of energy, but this bottom deck right here is the little card. And the little card is basically telling you, remember, you got to make small steps, right? A lot of times when we're trying to make a change that they're describing here, we try to make that change like that. We try to do everything all at once. We try to burn ourselves out like, oh, I'm just going to become a brand new person by the end of the day. And that's not actually going to bring you a lot of positivity and growth and sustainability. Remember, we're making moves to purify ourselves. We need to do that in love, okay? Love. We need to do that in love. And we need to ask ourselves authentically, how are we going to make that shift and put these things to rest, right? So ask yourself, like, if I were sitting in this situation asking myself what these cards are telling me about when it comes to taking action, what's the best course of action that I know is going to be successful for me because I love myself? Well, I'm going to do one change every day. Just one change, one slight change every day, and I'm going to keep building upon that. That's me understanding myself, making movements past my limitations, right? And dashing past them in general, purifying my life, and putting things to rest. At the same time, you need to ask yourself, when you're making these kinds of changes and you're doing them little by little, like when you want to fall back into those old habits that are self-sabotaging, why is it that you want to fall back into that habit? All right, ask yourself that before falling into that habit. And when you ask yourself, okay, why is it, you get to that answer, and then you ask yourself, is it in love? Is this a way of showing myself that I love myself? If it's not, it's time to purify that and put that to rest so we can move past this, okay? A lot of the issues that those of you that pick this deck particularly are dealing with are subconscious programmings that were dealt with in the inner child. So a lot of you might be going through a lot of inner child reflections, a lot of inner child understandings, getting to this point of recognizing where some of the major flaws that you've been creating in your reality are coming from based off of other programmings that other people have given you during this time in your story, okay? So right now, it's about change. For this deck right here, if you pick this deck, this is the next deck that we're going to be working with. Instead of taking action, these are the things that you need to focus on so that you get out of your own way, okay? So if you pick this deck right here, it's most likely because you're slightly stuck somewhere, you're looking for an answer, versus picking this deck right here is saying like you are making movements, you just have to have like reinforcement. So this is more so like encouragement, reinforcement. This is like, let's see why it is that you're not making those shifts, okay? So now we're going to go into the yin deck. We're going to shuffle these around. We're going to get the vibes, and we're going to read where you're at. Okay? All right, we're ready. So the first card comes up. There's an illusion that you guys are holding on to, okay? Everyone in the pink deck, the subconscious yin deck. This is the divine feminine energy. There is an illusion that you have constructed for yourself that is not helping you get to the next level anymore. And this illusion has become so comfortable for you that you don't really know how to break past it, but you know that you want to break past it. You're aware to some degree that it is an illusion that's self-sabotaging you, but how do we actually make that movement? The way you make that movement is by focusing on your goal. Right now, I want you, if you pick the pink deck, I want you to pick out your notebook or a piece of paper, and I want you to write down what is it that your goal is? What are you trying to attain right now? Really write it in full detail. Write down the exact like car model, the exact amount of money, the exact, house, whatever it is that you want particularly. I want you to write that down. Give yourself an exact timeline. I want it done by X date, okay? Then I want you to go ahead and I want you to write, how are you going to make this happen? All right? And once you write that down, tell yourself, right now I'm going to make movement. Even if you're not even anywhere ready at this current moment, you just start making a form of movement, okay? If you wanted to start that blog, just start writing it. You don't have to publish it today. You can start jotting down your ideas, even in that same notebook for the blog post, okay? Like, you got to start making those movements now, and you have to start holding yourself accountable. The reason why you're stuck in this illusion of kind of like feeling like you're in limbo, like things are happening but they're not happening as quickly as you would like them to be, is because you're lacking this direct desire, this direct focus. You might have started off the beginning of the year, you may have been running most of the year off of this one desire of something that you really wanted in your reality, and you're noticing that now that's kind of like losing its momentum. It's because you've lost the clarity on what it is that you want to purify your life. If you manage to do what we are telling you right now, you're going to bring a lot of light into your reality, okay? And this light is going to allow you to ascend and make some major shifts that are absolutely necessary in this current time. A lot of this, just like, so what's really interesting, what I really like to do is like look at how the cards layer upon each other, because people are usually dealing with something very similar but yet very, very different from each other. So where on the conscious deck, the action deck, there was this silence, like asking yourself what's really there and what really needs to be done. Here for the pink deck is the bubble card, which is basically asking you what emotions are holding you back that need to be purified. Very interesting that the bubbles talk about purification and the snow talks about purification as well, in different areas of the subconscious mind, but they're still very present on both decks. So ultimately, find what emotions are creating that illusion for you right there, okay? And the only way you're gonna start finding that is by, first of all, becoming very clear with what your desire is. And then once you're clear with that desire and you understand that you need to start moving towards this as hard as possible, start asking yourself about what emotions are not letting you get here, what's stopping you from getting here, okay? When you figure that out, you'll be able to dismantle the illusion. By strictly just making your desires, you're going to break the illusion to some degree. When you're asking yourself why it is that you're doing this, you're going to break it even more, and it's going to be a massive shift. It's time to change. It's a change card that comes out up top, okay? Very like, okay, listen, change, dash, move. These are all cards telling you guys that regardless of whether or not you're taking action or you're stuck in your head, there is one route that we're going to be going for the end of the year. And if you're not on this fucking train, you are screwed. By the way, don't forget that if you're looking to learn how to do these master quantum tarot spreads, or you want to learn how to channel, you want to learn how to do like very advanced energy work, join the Patreon temple. The link is going to be in the description below. You can also find the link on my Instagram and on my TikTok as well. We have a great community there that we work together, we evolve together, we learn together. And especially if you're one of those people that feels like you've been alone, especially trying to make a lot of these types of shifts, join our School of Mystics, our Patreon temple. You won't be doing this alone, and it's going to give you more of that motivation, especially if you have a hard time finding motivation to stay where you're at. Don't forget too that we're going to have a more advanced tarot reading on Patreon as well. That's going to be giving us all of this information. And man, earlier I was going to say that the dash card, rather, it always shows up with the move, or it shows up with the float. So here we have 4 changing. On the conscious aspect, we have move and dash, and here we have float and change. So there's a change that absolutely is necessary, and this change is absolutely necessary for your goal and your desire to accomplish itself. You need to understand that you're stuck in a cycle right now, an illusion that is being created by some fundamental emotions that are holding you back. Okay, and you need to make a concrete desire on what your goal is to start breaking this issue and find the light and open up the construction of your reality. Ultimately, change cannot be avoided during this time. So if you're in the pink deck and you're kind of like slowing down, you're kind of like, oh, things are going to pan themselves out. Things are not going to pan themselves out, okay? Things are right now being put in your court to create, not to let them go with the flow. You need to learn how to go with the flow with your own creations, but you can't just surrender to the flow and then allow the flow just to do all the work for you. That's not going to happen this time. So you really, 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 really got to be on top of your game and choose to make movements. You got to make those movements. You got to force yourself to change, okay? And this change is really, really critical, because if you don't do it, you're going to find some major limitations. But they are saying that you have a ton of luck. You have a lot of different kinds of luck here, okay? So as long as you're willing to, really put your thoughts on that main desire, okay, and choose to change on how you've been going towards your desire, not be stagnant, you're gonna find what you need, okay? You're gonna find those emotions that are blocking your dream from manifesting, and you're gonna float. You're gonna rise above any issues that are keeping you away from the light. Remember, you have a lot of luck on your side. So now let's go see what's on the bottom half of the deck. Ooh, girl. It's because this is on a loop. This is something that you do to yourself on the regular. You self-sabotage yourself a lot, okay? So you need to break this. Now, maybe you're somebody who's like, I'm trying to take action, but I'm also stuck inside of myself. Okay, so this is going to give you a third kind of reading. You need to put an illusion to rest, okay? You need to ask yourself why you need to put that illusion to rest, and where that illusion and those self-sabotaging beliefs are coming from emotionally, all right? It's time to purify your reality by focusing very specifically on a clear goal, a clear desire, okay? And then understanding that you need to do whatever you need to do to love yourself to make that come true, okay? If this is your desire, how do you need to love yourself to make that come true, so it stays pure and actually happens in the form of change that you're actually looking for in this current moment, okay? On top of that, we're making moves and we're moving towards what? The light, okay? So we need to dash and float beyond any limitations that are being created by this reality. Understanding that, again, the ultimate form of our power is finding love in the aspects of what we're trying to create and what we're trying to do in this present moment in our lives, because we have a lot of luck to be able to do that. Whatever's trying to stop you on this third read is coming from your inner child, and it's on a repetitive loop. So remember, first things most important, doing things little by little. Write down an attack plan and start knocking things out on that attack plan one by one, okay? You'll notice that, like, if you just focus on one thing at a time, you'll be able to get the whole project done in virtually no time at all. You won't even recognize that it's there. But this has to be broken. It's a loop that is keeping you from becoming transcendental in your own reality, and that is not okay, baby. Okay, so you got this. You can make this happen. Don't forget that if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, you can look on the description and the link below, and you can basically set up a free clarity consultation with me or one of my coaches. And don't forget as well that if you're looking to become part of the Patreon temple, growing your tarot skills, growing who you are, we are going to go ahead and help you do that. Join the School of Mystics, link in the description below. Join my Patreon temple if you're feeling like you're ready for that. But most importantly, just share this message and own this message, okay? Like, that's the most important thing right now, is just owning the message that's coming to you and taking action, okay? Sometimes we need a community to do that. If you don't need a community, then you just need willpower, all right? Once you have willpower, everything else is just going to come right around. I love you. Thank you so much for being part of this community, and I will see you next time.